Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video will contain spoilers for the 2010 Alan Moore graphic novel, Neonomicon. It may also include discussions or images of violence, sexual situations, and drug use. Viewing beyond this point is a choice you have made, and you take responsibility for that choice. Thank you, and please have a great day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone is doing alright, I hope everyone's having fun, and I hope the universe is treating you fairly. Before we get into this video, I want to thank all of my subscribers, all 114 of you. It's very much appreciated. I feel honored that you have chose to subscribe to my channel. I hope I can continue to put out videos that are worthy of your trust. At the time, like I said, at the time of filming, there's 114 and you're all appreciative. I am appreciative of you subscribing, and like I said, it does me great honor that you feel it, that my stuff is up to your level, up to your quality, your expectations. With that said, let's get into the video. Today's video, we are going to be talking about the 2010 Alan Moore comic series, which was later put into a graphic novel, Neonomicon. The spoiler alert, in my opinion, mispronounced it, but that's AI for you. Then again, I could be pronouncing it wrong, but I am drifting. It was a 4-issue comic book that ran from July of 2010 to February 2011. I've said this in other videos, and I'm going to probably say it in future videos. I am glad that I live in a time where comic book art is just that. It's art. It has evolved beyond the pulp newspaper quality. It's high art, and this graphic novel does not disappoint. It is it's for very, very mature audiences. If you are in the least bit squeamish about murder, drug use, homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism, misogyny, this is probably a graphic novel you may want to give a skip to. Those subjects are treated, and the way they're treated, you understand that the people that are exhibiting these traits, these outdated ways of thinking, are not good guys. They're not people that you want to associate with. There's also consensual sex between a human and a supernatural being. There's rape, both human on human rape, human or supernatural creature on human rape. There are things like that you may just want to, in the video here, you may go, you know what? Screw it. It's not for me. Peace out. No shame, no problems. Not everyone has the same tolerance for things. And it's really cool. So if it's really cool if you feel that you don't or can't continue this video, or any part in the video when it gets to be too much for you, click out, get out of here. Go. Now, with all that disclaimer stuff said, let's get into this. Like I said, it was 4 issues. It was written by Alan Moore. And if you grew up a comic book kid in the 80s, he was part of the 3M trinity of comic book gods. That being Frank Miller, Grant Morrison, and Alan Moore. The 3Ms. And in the 80s, they pushed people's comfort zones. They pushed people's understanding of what could be done in comic books. Everything from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, Grant Morrison's run on Doom Patrol, Alan Moore, Watchmen, From Hell, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, V for Vendetta. All pushed comfort zones. All pushed people in and out of their comfort zones. And even pushed you around inside your comfort zone. And this graphic novel does not deviate from Alan Moore's challenging us, the reader, how we view things. This is actually 2 stories. The first story that falls under the umbrella of the Neonomicon, which is a play on H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon. We're introduced to Aldo Sax. A-L-D-O, first name, S-A-X, last name. Aldo Sax. He is an FBI agent. He is like a Sherlock Holmes level super genius. He has figured out things before people realize there's stuff to put together. He's that intelligent, that his brain is works that way. The downside to it is our boy Sax is a racist, a misogynist. He's anti-Semitic. He's homophobic. He's all of the above. Go back to all the stuff that I was saying earlier about bad character traits. But because of his intelligence, it's kind of tolerated. He's in the process of investigating 3 murders that at face value seem unrelated, but he's figuring out how they're going together, and he thinks it involves a drug. So he's undercover in that world. He comes across a man by the name of Johnny Corsica. Carcosa. In Red Hook, Brooklyn. He arranges a meeting. They get into some drug stuff. And at the end of it, our boy Sax winds up murdering some people and is committed to an insane asylum. And a couple years later, there appears to be a copycat murder. This copycat murderer is doing some horrible things. In fact, one of the murders that the copycat does mirrors one of Sax's murders, where he cuts off the hands and carves up a person's head into the shape of a tulip while they're still alive. So the two new FBI agents, Brers and Lamper are their names. One's a black man, one's a female. Lamper is a black man and Brers is a woman. So they're going to see this psycho killer with all his bad traits. And they get there, they try to interview him, and he is just babbling nonsense, or what appears to be nonsense. Those of you who have read any of the H.P. Lovecraft stories recognize it as the made-up language of the old ones that H.P. Lovecraft created. Our boy Sax is also in a lot of ways a stand-in for Lovecraft. Lovecraft had, for his time, the 1920s, 1930s, 1920s and 30s, and I think a lot of his stuff didn't get published until late 30s, early 40s, near or right around the time of his death. But Lovecraft was very, very much all these traits that Sax had, but was a genius of a writer. You cannot, in good faith, you cannot diminish his work because of his fucked up worldview. But at the same time, Lovecraft's fucked up worldview was accepted. It was commonplace. He wasn't, during his life, he wasn't the oddball out. However, our boy Sax in this story is, because this takes place in the early 2000s and society has bettered itself. H.P. Lovecraft was also very asexual. I'm not sure, from the research that I've done on Lovecraft in my life, reading his stories and stuff growing up and through adulthood, I'm not sure if he was a misogynist in the fact that he hated women, because he was raised by his two domineering, overbearing aunts, and He did marry a woman. But I think he may have been more afraid of women than outright hating them. And it's because we're looking now in 2025, we're looking at about 100 years. And all that stuff's kind of murky. I mean, it's up to personal interpretation. And I have to admit, I'm on the fence on this. Yeah, like I said, I'm on the fence. Sometimes I'm like, well, maybe he was just afraid of the pussy. And other times I'm like, well, he hated women. And it's and a lot of it has to do with the sources, the way the source you're doing the research has written it, the way they're trying to portray them. But like I said, Sachs is kind of the stand-in for Lovecraft. Through the story picks up with Lamper and Brer's investigation. They wind up in Salem, Massachusetts. They discover a sex cult that worships the great old ones of Lovecraft creation. They figure out that Lamper and Brer's are FBI agents. They kill Lamper. They systematically gang rape Brer's. A supernatural creature from the Black Lagoon type thing shows up, rapes her. And through the process of Stockholm Syndrome, over the course of, I think it's stated at like a week, that she becomes a willing participant. And she eventually gets out. She gets back in contact with the FBI. They raid the place. They kill this creature. The creature by this point had killed all the cultists. And the book ends with her on psychiatric leave because, well, you know, getting raped by the creature from the Black Lagoon is probably not good for one's psyche. And we find out at the very end of the story that she's pregnant. And it's alluded to that maybe the stories and the great old ones and all that haven't arrived yet. That maybe Brer's is going to give birth to the great Cthulhu, or bring back the great Cthulhu. So yeah, and there's speculation whether or not the cult members were aping Lovecraft's work or making something out of Lovecraft's work that it wasn't, or was Lovecraft part of some kind of cult in his day? Or maybe was Lovecraft the 100 years ago scion or harbinger or messenger, and our boy Sachs is the new one. There is a sequel. I haven't picked it up yet. The sequel is Well, it's a prequel sequel. This story, from what I've read, I haven't read it yet. I haven't picked it up. I'm going to try to pick it up in the next couple months. But Providence, from what I understand, this story fits like half of Providence is a prequel, and the second half of the story is the sequel. And Neonomicon slides right in the middle of those two. It is graphic. It is a good story. It is a well-told story. There's nudity, so take that for what it's worth. The the rape and stuff is off panel, right? Not really off panel. You have allusions to it. You have a close up on the Briare's face when she's getting raped, but you don't actually see the rape. It's like I said, if you're squeamish, it's, I said this, I've probably said this over and over through the video by now, that this is probably a skip as far as reading in this video. If you've made it this far, you're probably good to go on the novel. But do your own research. Look it up on Wikipedia or the comics forum. Let me see the name of it. Like Reddit. Check the Reddit threads on it. Maybe look at the Goodreads reviews of it and stuff like that. Like I said, this story pushes boundaries. It pushes comfort zones. If you like to be challenged, if you're not afraid of having your worldview challenged, pick this up. It is an interesting read. It causes you to think. Outside the box. Not outside the box, outside the field that the box is in. You know, it's Alan Moore unrestrained. The novel is put out by, grab my copy right quick right here. This is the front. I mean, I've probably have a graphic of this somewhere by now, but this is the front and this is the back. It's put out by Avatar Press. It's not a DC or a Marvel release, so it doesn't have the limitations that Marvel or DC would put on more, due to them being multi-million dollars, trying to appeal to the largest audience possible. Whereas Avatar has a niche crowd, has a very niche following, and the people that read their comics understand you're gonna get stuff like this. So yeah, this is Alan Moore, probably at Alan Moore's best. If Alan Moore could go back and do, say, V for Vendetta or From Hell or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or any of the other great comics, Watchmen, that he's done, without the restraints of DC Comics given them, I imagine those would even surpass what they are now. So, like I said, do your own research, look it up, read other reviews, check out YouTube videos other than mine on this thing to see if it's a fit for you. It might not. And like I said at the beginning of the video, there is no shame in it. There is, if this isn't your thing, don't do it. Don't. There's no use putting yourself through it if you don't have to. So, with all of that being said, remember to be a good human, be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?